All right, folks, next topic is going to be styling images. My image here is so big, and what can I do with it? Like, it's kind of stuck here. Yeah, I don't know. It's okay, but I'd maybe like to have it sort of beside this text and shrink it down a bit. That would be, would like to do that. I think that would be nice. And also maybe like put some borders around it and spice it up a little bit. So let's try it. Let's see what we can do with images. So I'm going to go over to images. Oh, there's no tag yet for image. So I'll put one in. What is the order we put these in? I'm really out of order. So I think I'm just going to take a minute to organize these alphabetically. Pardon me as I interrupt our video to organize things a little bit. I think it's worthwhile to keep them in some sort of logical order. Because as you can see, the list of styles gets pretty long. We've done quite a bit. So yeah, I'm kind of not sure. I don't know. I'm not gonna indent it automatically right now. I'll leave it the way it is. I'll come back to that later. Okay, so I'm gonna put images after H, so they'll be right here. Image. Wow, what can we do with an image? So one thing we can do is we can, I guess, put it to like the left or put it to the right of the picture. So what I can do is I can say float left or float right, and then the text will flow around it. So I'm going to say float left, for example. We'll see what that does to our images. And I don't know if it'll necessarily do too much when we look at it, but we'll try it and see. So my image is now going to float left. So look what happens. See how it's like, now it's on the left, and it's called floating, so that the text can kind of come around the side here. So and that's nice. I squished my text into a tiny, tiny little box here. So I gotta adjust that. But once we adjust that, I think it'll be great. Let's go back and adjust. Maybe we'll change its width. And there is a width property. I wonder if it'll override the HTML because I'm using an attribute in HTML right now. Yeah, it did. Look at that. So now it's a little bit smaller, and my text is along the side here. So that's pretty nice. I don't like so much that it runs right up to the edge. So we'll take a look at that. And I'd like to put a border around it and maybe change some things about it. So that would be fun to do. Hey, guess what? It's really nice to know that the images are a box and they follow the same rules as the box model that we have for our divs. So we can use the same sort of padding, margin, border, all that stuff we can use. So let's go use it. So for images, I'm going to give it maybe a border. I'm going to say 2 pixels, white, solid. Let's just see what that looks like, just to see if there's a border there. Hey, look at that, there's a border. Now, I kind of want some space here. I don't want like it to be right up against. So what's it called on the outside of a border? So there's padding and there's margin. So padding is the space between the image and the border on the inside, and then margin is the space outside of the border and whatever is beside it, or on top of it, or around it, or whatever. So I want margin, and I can specify like margin. I guess that's on the right side. So I can say margin right, and I can say like some number, 20 pixels, for example. And I'll just put a little margin beside it. I'll just kind of space it out. So now I have a bit of a gap there, and that's nice. So that kind of conveniently pushed this down to the side. You can do border radius. Border radius, whatever you want to like make it all. Oh, what happened to my border radius? I don't know. There it is. So that you can round the corners on an image as well, which looks pretty cool. And since I have a transparent background in my thing, I think I can put in a background color. Let's just try white, just to see if it works. Yeah, there it is. So I can put in my own sort of background. And you can choose whatever color you want. If it's not transparent, of course, that won't work. But because it's transparent, I can make that work nicely. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like playing around with this a lot because it's kind of fun to edit my images. Maybe I'll make it a black border to match it. I don't know. Whatever. I won't waste your time too much. But hey, that looks good, right? Another thing that you could do is float to the other side. So I can say float right. But notice when I do that, if I do that, the margin on the right is no longer the right one to do, if that wasn't meant to be a pun, but there it is. Now I want to do margin left. It's going to make a gap here, which is not necessarily wrong, but not what I want to do. So now I'm going to change it to margin left so that the space on the left side works out nicely. So we got margin left. There we go. Now we got the gap on this side, and that's working like that. So there you go. That is, it looks more professional, right? It looks cooler, I guess. I don't know. It looks better. And you can move that image around still, and it'll just float wherever you put it. So for example, if I was to take this and move it down below the 3 things I like, or maybe just above the 3 things I like, you know, it won't float beside the paragraph anymore. It'll float beside these things here, because, you know, it goes this paragraph and then the image, but it's floating on this side, and then the next things kind of like come along on the other side because it's floating. So, you know, that's that looks actually not bad, you know. It kind of fit nicely. So I'm gonna leave it just like that and be happy that worked out. Okay, so there you go. There's a little bit about styling your images, and there's probably more to it, but we'll stop there. Okay, thanks. Enjoy.